Hi folks, how y'all doing? Welcome to Digital Diversity Streams, a day when we play games by the LGBTQIA plus community. We share them, we spread their joy or their sadness or their messages or just their fun, and we have a lot of fun doing it. This is a safe space. This is a place where we can enjoy what a lot of queer game devs put together and make out of, their passion usually. Because, let's face it, in the queer community, making these sorts of things is primarily passion, as much as we really would love for all these devs to be able to make careers out of making these wonderful games. The industry is not there, but we're here to just share and enjoy and be here for each other and play some really cool games. So today we are playing The Light at the End of the Ocean by Jane Titor, and I'm really hyped about this one. We've actually got I've had messages from a few people recently about their games coming out, like games that are just released or games that are currently in Kickstarter. So I'm going to be trying to get a digital diversity stream every weekend for the next 3 weekends. Depending on circumstance, because we are moving soon, which means we're gonna need pack it all up and move it. So, but we're still waiting. So pause crossed. There we go. That's it. Hey Draz, how you doing? Oh wow, you got all the queer emotes. Damn, some of those are actually really good. I felt left out by a few of those emotes, but But I'm not gonna start stuff. Some of them are very nice. Alright. You're obviously a collector. Okay. How are we doing? How's everyone doing? Yeah, I'd like to be able to take some time during the moving time to be able to do some streams and things like that. No Ace B or Ace Koala because they're cowards. Yeah. Hurry up and give Draz their Ace rep. Oh no, it was an Aero B and an Ace Koala. Yeah. We'll figure out how things go with the move. We're waiting to hear back, so hoping to hear back for our first choice. Yeah, we don't get enough Aero rep. We get a lot of talk. This is something that I do definitely see, is we get a lot of I mean, in Ace rep in general is lacking. But we don't get a whole lot of Aero rep. We don't get a whole lot of aromantic rep. The discourse is usually around asexuality and not aromanticism. You got the agender B though, yeah. There's some okay ones in there. The Pride Unicorn is pretty good. The Penguin is adorable. There's some good ones there. For commercialist Pride stuff, I'd like that to be there all the time, but you can't demand, you can't expect companies to be good all the time. Especially not one that says the G in LGBTQ is for gamer. I'm not gonna get into it. Kaiju, calm down. It's okay. Things will be okay. I'm not gonna rock the boat. I'm not gonna rock it too much. There's no other real platforms. It's a Tangled Virus. How you doing? We're just getting ourselves warmed up here, getting rolling. By the way, I should put the content warnings up. Not a lot of content warnings in this one, folks, but please be aware. Oh yeah, I'm pretty sure this is gonna get pretty gay. So we're gonna see how we go. I don't know how much of this we're gonna get through. I'm trying to trying to keep the streams to about 2 hours for these ones, just because they are very emotionally draining, and life's been a lot. Unfortunately, I haven't been streaming these a lot lately because life has been a lot, but we can get there. Hey, bye! It's good to see you. It's good to see you. Life's been a lot, but I'm positive. I have some very wonderful people in my life. My partners are incredible and I love them very much. And we're positive about all moving in together, and that's going to be lots of fun. And yeah, things are going to get gayer. Things are going to get very gay. So yeah. We've got a couple more minutes just to... How's folks? How's folks? Well, we'll just double check. Probably left those up long enough. Hey Max! All good, all good. Is it link to the game is down the bottom? We put, for those who haven't listened to it yet, we put up the most recent digital diversity podcast a couple of weeks ago, and it has been doing so well. I am so happy. That's the adults only podcast, and I was very nervous about how that would turn out, because there's content that can get a lot of mixed reactions, but like that's already the most popular podcast episode we've released, so I'm not surprised. And where the poll ran through and the results were that people want the non-human rep episode to come up next. So I'll be looking at getting Ryro, the creator of Gay Monster Kiss Club, on to talk about non-human queer representation, and I'm like super hyped about that. Because they do monsters. They do good non-human stuff. But yeah. Oh yeah, we can talk about all the cute monsters and the hot monsters and the lovable monsters and the monsters we don't like. And God, I could probably make a 4-hour podcast just about non-human representation, because like the good and the bad. And I'm going to try not to get into the same discussions I always end up getting in. So we're only going to be talking about the stuff that I like, predominantly. Because a lot of stuff pops up pretty often. Cute, stumpy monsters. I need to get more art of my sonar. I got my... I've been spreading around a lot, but like, I got my sonar... my kaiju sonar done recently, and I'm so happy with it, and I need to get like more art of it done because I just love it. Just wants to get all. I've been trying to work out if I can put it in a visual novel yet, but is that gonna work? That's probably a bit big. That's probably big. Kaiju sonar too big. Wow, there we go. Look at it. It's so lovely. That's by Shiver's Art. They're amazing, and I just love this beautiful stompy pride monster. They make me so happy. Use sonar anthro practice at some point. Yeah, like I definitely need to get some artists in to try do it. I need to commission some folks to do it, because now that I've got it, like, this feels so me. I love the non-binary claws. The non-binary claws are so cool. And the spiky tail, the spikes, the rainbow spikes. I didn't ask for that. That's just what they did, and it's so good. Fucking Monster Pride. Okay. I think it's about time we get this thing rolling. How about y'all? Let us get into this. One quick last look at the content warnings, because we can. 3, 2, 1. Boop. How's the sound? How's the sound doing before we get going? Because I've noticed that sound quality's been a little awkward. Things will be better after we move, because we're moving to much quieter spaces, so I can get my audio set up properly. The last 2 years have been not particularly good for my audio. What have I got in extras? Gallery, notes, hints, party. Party. Gotta love a game with a hidden party option. Alright, how are we doing? How are we doing? I think we're all good here. Alright, so let's get going with The Light at the End of the Ocean by Jane Titor. The ocean is a lonely place to be. A vast expanse of nothingness, it seems. But peer into the distance and you'll see. Atop an island cliff, a lighthouse gleams. The island's shores, composed of jagged rocks, are treacherous to each small passing boat. The sailors bound for further, safer docks. The tower's warning keeps the ships afloat. So on the light, the keeper spends her days, in solitary sleep and wakes at night, to shine a beam through ocean fog and haze, her solemn duty to the sacred light. And through our stalwart keeper does her best. This morn a grave mistake has brought a guest. I do love a game that starts with rhymes. I don't know why, but they make me happy. Two women stand on the rocky shore of the island in a light film of rain. The lighthouse keeper is stock still, her work boots planted firmly on the ground. Her guest, on the other hand, is perpetually slightly off balance, swaying on the slippery and uneven terrain. In front of them lie several battered planks of wood. Wow, it's beautiful here. Let's have a look at the art. These are good character designs. I love the almost stylistic vibe of this. Like, you could almost feel like the lighthouse keeper is like a grown-up Tiny Tina kind of stylized look. You don't think so? Been here a long time. Got used to it. Those bits of wood, is that what's left of my boat? Uh-huh. It was a wooden boat? God, I'm already in love with, like, how this has been done. Like, I'm trying to work out how many frames are in the rain. Like, it's one of those situations where I'm just gonna be digging into the technical and working out how this is all done. Like, how many frames has the rain been done in? How was that zoom done? Like, how was the background zoom done in a clear way? Keeps reminding me I need to work on my own goddamn game, and that's gonna wait till I've moved, I've decided. Guess so. Was it like a canoe or something? Right, I guess you didn't really see it. I can imagine canoeing. I think that's something I've done before. On holiday, maybe. Not sure why I would do it alone, though. I hope it comes back to me soon. It should. I guess that's all I wanted to see here. Yeah. I'm trying to work it out, because, like, you put... Like, I find the best way to work out how many frames is, like, you put your mouse over a particular line, and you work out how many frames is between each one. 1, 2, 1, 2... Yeah, I think it's 3 frames. What can I do? You said, what, 5 days until your supply guy with the boat arrives? Something like that. Do you have some books I could read? Actually, maybe you're not supposed to read when you have a concussion. Any board games we can play, maybe? Later. Got some work to do now. Work? Isn't your job being a lighthouse keeper? What work do you have to do during the day? General maintenance and things. Right, well I guess I'll figure something out. Yeah, good plan. Like, when we're all together, it'll make it a lot easier to work on VN stuff. This way. With dissolve. They turn back towards the weather-beaten lighthouse that looms over them, and from an outcrop of rocks, and brace themselves to climb the slick stone steps that lead to this old oak door. That's the question, could you... No, you wouldn't do the rain as, like... You'd do the rain as an extra layer, wouldn't you? Gosh, this is gonna be on my mind all day now. Like, is the rain done separately, like, included in each panel, and each panel is a GIF? Or is the rain like a separate layer that's been put over the top, like a PNG layer that's been put over the top of each frame? Alright, this is gonna be on my mind. GIFs aren't supported in Ren'Py. God, how's this done then? Yeah. They turn back towards the weather-beaten lighthouse that looms over them from an outcropping of rock and brace themselves to climb the slick stone steps that lead to the old oak door. Ooh. That's some good alliteration. The light at the end of the ocean. Animation going on between 3 images with a transparent background so it fits over any BG. Okay. God. I might need to learn how to do that, because that seems like something I could use. There's a nice cozy kitchen. I think I might have had an apartment like this once. Or maybe I just wanted one? The light is on the top floor, obviously. Make yourself at home. Yeah, I guess I will. Not that I know what being at home is like right now. Oh my god, we can interact with stuff. I'm sorry, I'm just not used to being able to interact with stuff in visual novels. What's in the boxes? These must be some of the supply crates the guy in the boat brings. Point and click adventure! Okay, so we're on an island. We've met the watchkeeper. We're obviously going to be a pirate, right? Is this a real wood-burning stove? I don't think I've ever seen one except in movies. Done with image maps? Yeah. I guess it's hard to get electricity running on a rock in the middle of the ocean. Blueberry, raspberry, ginseng, sleepy time. There are a lot of different flavors here. Oh, we can do a proper tea cupboard in the new place. Okay, that excites me. Going up? Go upstairs. Oh, it's a cute little bedroom. Wow, I'm not looking great. I don't know, I think that art is amazing. That is some good art. Not that I can remember what I normally look like, but I hope it's not quite this bad. Smooch your own face. What's this doing here? Looks like a ticket for a bus tour. Can't imagine there are any of those around here. Yes, come back to it. We'll do some big tea orders. Yeah, Valentine's Day. Looks like the tour starts at the Europa Hotel in Belfast. The guest peers more closely at the ticket, searching for more information, but the majority of the lettering is illegibly smudged. As she moves to replace the ticket on her nightstand, she feels a sudden jolt of warmth in her fingers where she touched it, and her vision swims into nothingness. That's cool. That transition though. Like around here we are fans of a good transition, and that's a good transition. Two women step onto a tour bus a few minutes apart. The wistful wanderer makes herself comfortable in a seat towards the back. Through the window, she sees the ornate facade of a large hotel. The tender-hearted tourist takes time to examine all her seating options before approaching the woman in the back. Alliteration. I don't know why, it just does it for me. I learned on this other bus tour yesterday that the hotel was the most bombed building during the Troubles. So I've heard. Yeah, apparently it was one of the few hotels in the city. So it was where a lot of journalists stayed, and that's why they targeted it, I guess. I mean, this looks pretty gay to me. Like, those outfits. Damn. My name's Emma. Can I sit here? Sure. I'm Mera. Miara? I'd say Miara. The wanderer shifts even closer to the window as the tourist takes her seat. Are you traveling alone too? I guess I am today. I'm staying with relatives, but they sent me off on this tour while they're working. The tourist catches a hint of dejection in the wanderer's tone and wonders if they might be able to relate to each other. I was supposed to be traveling with a friend, but then she got sick or something and got an earlier flight. It's weird. We spent so much time planning to do all these things together. She really wanted to see the Giant's Causeway. And now she's back home, I guess. But she's barely even replied to my messages since she left. It's really weird to be here alone. Goddamn mood, I've done that with someone, I've traveled with them, and then they've left like halfway through the trip, and it gets weird. The wanderer thinks for a moment before replying. She went home because she wasn't feeling well? How far away does she live? She's from Oklahoma. It's like a 12-hour flight or something. She must have been really sick. Yeah. Well, she really didn't want to spend another minute with me, which is a theory I'm kind of leaning towards. The wanderer chuckles. Well, I only just met you, but you don't seem bad enough to drive someone out of the country to me. Thanks. Flirts in queer. The bus starts up and the driver's muffled voice on the speaker announces their departure for the tourist's first stop, Carrickfergus's castle. The tourist smiles in anticipation of the journey. So where are you from? Dublin. You? Canada. Near Toronto. Dublin was lovely. I really liked how the river ran straight through downtown. My friend and I got fish and chips wrapped in newspaper and sat by the river eating it the first night we were there, before everything. Yeah, it's nice. And you said you were visiting relatives? My aunt and uncle. They live in a small town not too far from here. I think it'd be nice to live in a place like that, out in the country. The wanderer stares silently at her companion, as if searching her face for a sign of kindness, perhaps? Or of capacity for understanding. Eventually she finds it. I don't know. It seems a little depressing to me. Mood. We went out to a pub and they knew half the people in there and had to chat with them all. My cousin was worried about how it might be awkward if she ran into one of her students' parents again. She's a teacher? Her and my aunt both. They live together and walk to work together every morning, and my uncle works some kind of office job here in the city. He drove me in today and the traffic was awful and the songs on the radio were repetitive, and I don't know how he deals with that as his routine every day. I know what you mean. I don't want my life to become mundane like that either. I guess that's why I try to travel when I can. This game is just full of mood right now. I'm feeling called out. I don't know if any of us can avoid it though. We have to get a job or else we can't afford anything. And how many jobs are actually interesting? How many people are actually happy to go to work and not just silently resign to it at their best? Report tweet. I am included in this tweet. The Wanderer stops herself from continuing her tirade, suddenly realizing that it may have been too much to say to a stranger. I don't know. I try not to think about it. Yeah, I've tried to. The concern and compassion in the tourist's eyes compel the Wanderer to continue regardless of decorum. I'm not just on holiday. My parents sent me to stay with relatives because I'm not doing well. My girlfriend broke up with me and it's been really hard. I guess they think the country air will be good for me or something. Oh. I mean, you told me something personal about you and your friend, so it only seems fair to be honest with you too. After a moment that feels endless to the Wanderer, the tourist responds with a sympathetic smile. Thanks. I mean, I appreciate it. I hope this trip is as helpful as your parents think it will be. This tour sounds like it'll be nice at least. I'm looking forward to seeing the Giant's Causeway. The two women relax into their seats as the bus rolls out to the city. I love that transition. It's so good. Oh, here you are. Work's done for the day. You want a tour of the island or something? Or you could take a look at how the light works if that's something you're interested in. She looks at the guest expectantly as the guest slowly takes in her restored surroundings. I feel like I just had a dream or a vision? I don't know. I picked up this bus ticket and suddenly my hand felt really hot and... Oh yeah, that's how it works here. You'll get used to it. What? This really isn't a normal island. Hard to explain. You'll figure it out anyway. There's a process to it. Now, do you want to go see the rest of the island or look at the light? Ooh. Wait, I can't save here. What do we think? Do we see the rest of the island or we go look at the light? Apparently I cannot sit gay enough today without my legs cramping. Alright, let's look at the Keeper's big light. I guess I want to go look at the light. Alright, you go on ahead. See you upstairs. There's no save. There's no save. This weirds me out. I'm used to just like right clicking and having a save. Bus ticket, huh? That one's new. The keeper arrives at the top of the wooden ladder to see the guest marveling at the giant lantern that dominates the room. I'm loving this music. It's so wonderful. Outside the panes of glass that make up the walls, the sea, now much calmer than it was during the morning storm, stretches out into the distance. Wow. Yeah, nice view. The light too, it's such an interesting shape. The ridges and things make it easier to see from far away. I wonder how far, but somehow I didn't see it. At least, I can't imagine I did. Why would I have crashed if I'd seen it? You didn't. It wasn't on. Malfunctioning. Oh. Well, that gives me a little more confidence in my boating ability then. It should always be on at night. It was a terrible mistake. Well, if it malfunctioned, that can't be anyone's fault. It's bound to happen once in a while. And I survived, so it seems like everything's fine, right? I'm sure I'll recover from the concussion soon. Yeah, you will. Oh. I am just in love with the transitions in this one. Like, that background transition was good. Like, every time I play one of these, I see new things that I've never seen done with the engine before, and it blows my mind. Like, you see AAA companies doing big things with their engines, and oh, that's amazing, that's pretty, that's gorgeous, but like, seeing something done with such a tiny engine as Ren'Py, and like the sorts of things people do with it to create atmosphere, to create narrative, is just unbelievable. The sky outside the lighthouse begins to darken and change color with the first hints of sunset. Seems a little early for the sun to go down. Not that I really know what time it is, I guess, but I didn't feel like it was that late. It's always a little earlier than you expect here. What do you need to do to make sure the light is working? Keep an eye on the paraffin levels in the reservoir. Check that earlier. And then pump the air container regularly to keep the fuel moving and burning. Oh, it's a paraffin lamp. How often is regularly? Once an hour or so. Once you get used to it, you can tell when it's time. Must have been hard to get used to at first. Did you learn from another lighthouse keeper? Something like that. What do you mean? It's complicated. Hard to explain. Oh. It's getting dark. Time to get all this stuff working. Offer to help. Do you need any help with that? No, but thank you for offering. No problem. I guess since I don't know what to do, I'd probably just get in the way. It's not that, it's just... Maybe you can learn another time, if you really want to. Sure, if I'm hanging around here for a while anyway, I might as well make myself useful. You don't need to work to be useful. Well, have a good night. You too. The guest glances at the sunset through the glass once more before descending to her bedroom for the night. This game. Just these transitions. You having a moment too, Draz? Like, is this giving you a moment as well? Because it's giving me moments. Yeah, you don't have to work to be useful. Remember that, folks. In the middle of the night, the guest stands in the kitchen sipping a glass of water as she looks out of the window at the dark blue sea. She strains her eyes to catch a glimpse of distant boats each time the rotating beam of light from above sweeps by. Oh, you startled me. Aren't you busy with the light? Just refilled the reservoir now. It's fine. Did you come for a glass of water too? I'll grab you a... Recent site that suggested you find a job to feel useful? Yeah, you don't need a job to feel useful. Like, unfortunately, capitalism has ruined us in that belief. No, it's alright. As the two women reach towards the cupboard at the same time, their hands brush against each other for a moment, and the keeper leans away as if she's received an electric shock. Are you okay? The keeper disappears without a word, leaving the guest alone in the darkness. Sorry? When the guest's anxieties eventually allow her some sleep, it is fitful and haunted by strange dreams. The only detail she remembers upon awakening is an image of two giants locked in mortal combat, while balancing upon basalt columns rising out of the sea. Yeah, the game begins with a subtle hand touch. That and a glimpse of a man with a scepter and a wide-brimmed hat, giving her a quizzical look and stating, "You shouldn't be here." The strange man dissolves as the guest is awoken by footsteps coming from above. Half asleep, she hears the keeper muttering something nonsensical to herself as she passes through on the stairs. Like, to go out there and tell the snake-obsessed creep that his golden sandals look stupid, or is showing up here to... Too tired to be curious, the guest rolls over and goes back to sleep, awakening again later on to sunlight flooding the room. She stumbles out of bed and looks for the keeper, reasoning that the company, however standoffish and strange that company may be, is preferable to solitude in this bizarre new world. Hello? Huh, not here either. Maybe she's outside? What the hell? The guest struggles in vain to open the lighthouse's towering oak door. I'm locked in. Why would she... What? Morning, Kita. Why would a lighthouse need a door that locks from the outside? What the... She begins to search the room for any hope of escape. Go through the oven. Doing good. Just playing this wonderful, wonderful game. And really, really loving it. Like, this is good visual novel territory here. I'm enjoying it. Go upstairs. Go further upstairs. If she was going to hide a key, it would make sense for it to be in her room, right? Gosh, this art is freaking gorgeous. Check the wardrobe. Nothing in the pockets of any of the clothes. Nothing behind the books. This looks really old. I wonder who those people are. Maybe her grandparents or something? It seems like it was taken at a party. As the guest examines the photograph, she feels a familiar warmth in her hand and loses sight of her surroundings again. Time for a transition. A distressed debutante stands on a balcony, struggling to light a cigarette with shaking hands. From inside the house, a brooding bachelor calls her name. Rose? Rose! We must leave the Titanic, Rose! It's sinking! The bachelor emerges from the balcony. He stops short of joining the debutante at the railing, instead lingering by the door. Yeah, the alliteration in this game, like, I am loving everything about this game so far. The music is great. The art is great. The alliteration is wonderful. And the transitions. Oh, the transitions. As someone who's been transitioning for the last 2 years, I can say I know what a good transition's like, and that's a good transition. Stop showing. There you are. Are you all right? What do you think, Edwin? She addresses him without turning around. I'm so sorry, Rose. I was going to talk to you soon. I just wanted everyone to have fun tonight, like old times. I didn't mean to upset you. But you know I can't marry you, Rose. And why not? You know what I am. I'm 3 raccoons in a human costume. I could get found out if I tried to sign a legal document. No, Edwin's too tall for 3 raccoons. Edwin's 4 raccoons in a human costume. Of course I know that. I mean, I didn't intend to. I was trying to think of like what animal would go well in a human costume, and for some reason, raccoon came to mind first. I've known you were in love with Cecil ever since you first introduced me to him. The way you looked at him. But what does that matter? The man takes a step towards his friend. I can't change, Rose. I didn't expect you to change. I just thought you're two raccoons in a human costume because you're small. Yeah. Yeah, Rose's angry, unimpressed face. Just like, I don't care that you're gay. I wanted to marry you. I'm a wealthy debutante, okay? Am I not worth it? I thought we could be happy in a way. Happier than some couples I've met. Also, for some reason, I'm seeing a cat face in the bodice of that dress. Like, cat face with 3 eyes for some reason. That is an amazing dress, by the way. I think I'd wear that dress. Huh, and Edwin dresses to the left. Yeah, raccoons are awesome. Yeah, the fabric part with the cat ears. It's so cute. You could be happy with a man. You could be happy with a man who can't love you, not in the way a husband should. Plenty of women's husbands don't love them. You would at least like me. We'd have each other for companionship. Holy shit, I love Rose. It's just like, I don't care that you're gay. We could just be happy and be friends and do puzzles and drink tea and like, and you could go off and be with your boyfriend. We don't care. Just. But you could be so much happier than that, Rose. You could find someone who really wants to be with you. Who? The debutante whirls around to look at the bachelor in the eye for the first time. You think it's any easier for me? You think I'm any different than you? I know you are. You love me, don't you? But you're the only man I've ever... Everyone else has... I know it doesn't seem that way now, but if you love me, you can love another man someday. Oh, Edwin, you're putting too much hope in just how bi Rose is. You can be happy, Rose, so much happier with someone else. You think I'm any different than you? I'm also 3 raccoons in a human costume. Besides, I was called up yesterday. Oh. A single tear escapes the woman's eyes in the heavy silence. But you'll fight it, won't you? What's the use? They haven't let any of us escape from it so far. But you won't go to war? You can't. No, I have another plan. I've been thinking about it a lot recently. But I'll tell you later. Come back to the party, Rose. It might be the last time we all see each other again for a long time. The woman makes an earnest attempt to smile as her friend leans back into the house. Are you ready to... There you are. What the hell is going on? Sorry? Why did you lock me in the lighthouse today? What's happening with these weird visions? Are you causing them somehow? The guest advances on the keeper despite her disorientation. No, it's just... You were locked in? The keeper stands her ground, apparently unconcerned by her guest's aggression. Like some kind of prisoner. That shouldn't have happened? Damn right it shouldn't have. No, it wasn't intentional. Things just happen here sometimes. You've probably noticed that already. I've noticed this place is really weird, yeah. And you must have been really worried when you were locked in. Yeah, I was. Where were you? Just walking around the island. Sorry, you weren't supposed to be locked in. Didn't mean to. Well, thanks, I guess. The guest lets go of the tension in her body, but not without some lingering wariness of her companion. You still haven't had a tour of the island? No. Want to do that then? You're not even going to explain? Yeah, why do I even try? Of course you're not. Frustrated face. There is a process to how things happen here. Trying to explain prematurely won't help anyone. It'll all make sense before you leave. The guest shakes her head in resignation. I guess all I can do is take your word for it. Please. Yeah, whatever. You seem genuine enough. I just wish... Doesn't matter. Give me the tour. Thank you. Go ahead. Meet you there. Why would he lock her in? What's the point of that? What an awful... The music transitions are pretty good too. Like, it doesn't harsh cut, it actually fades. And that's pretty damn good. The keeper joins her guest outside the locked lighthouse, locking the old oak door behind her. The rain of the previous day is stopped, but the window's picked up, and the guest rubs her arms to keep warm. You've already seen the north shore where you crashed. This way's the south. She leads the guest in the opposite direction from the stairs they climbed before, down a much shallower slope towards the opposite shore. Not really much to give a tour of, is there? It's a pretty small island. I'd live there. Yeah, well, it still pays to know your way around. You must know pretty well. How long have you been here? Dunno. What? You don't know? That's a joke. It's just been a long time, and it's not very interesting to talk about. Right. I think the keeper wants to be, like, just quiet times, that's... They descend the hill in silence apart from their footsteps. The keeper's heavy and even, the guest's lighter and more irregular as she struggles to keep up. Before too long, they arrive at a rocky shore similar to the one on the other side of the island. The only noticeable difference between them is rather than smattering of pieces of wood on the rocks, this side has a neatly constructed dock stretching out into the water. This side of the island is a lot much safer for boats to dock. So this is where the supply guy will turn up? Maybe. Depends on which side of the island he's coming from. And over there is the archive. The archive? The guest turns to where the keeper is pointing and sees a small cottage half embedded in the hill so that it's barely visible from the other side. We found hobbitses! We found hobbitses. Okay. Have fun. Yeah, but we're in Hobbiton apparently. Archive of what? You can see when the archivist gets back. Should be soon. It's getting late though. Time to turn on the light. Archive of our own. Oh, sunset came quickly again. Hang on. I thought that she said this side was the south. The guest sighs and follows the keeper back up the hill before the disorienting sunset at her back. So the sun... Wait. The sun sets on both sides and rises from both sides. The keeper gazes out at the ocean from the top of the tower, her face illuminated unevenly by the glow of the lantern. Her eyes remain fixated on the horizon, even as soft footsteps reach the top of the ladder next to her. Honey, I'm home. I like that smile. Not your honey. Aw, play along. You're the closest thing I've got. How are things with your guest? Fine. Fine? Really? Alright, awkward. She keeps asking questions there aren't any good answers to, of course. Why don't you just explain things to her? It's not the way it's supposed to go. There's a process. Yeah, I know. So what? You think you're gonna get in trouble if you make things a little easier for her? What do you think he would do to you anyway? Considering what he's done already, don't feel much like finding out. Right. I keep forgetting how much younger you were, and you haven't had nearly as much time to get used to the way things are for you and me. Yeah, whomst is this he? Like, I'm sensing some kind of elder god kind of situation going here. Like, there's obviously time manipulation going on with the island. Some kind of space manipulation since the sun seems to set on both sides. I'm guessing some kind of curse. Chair, please. Can't imagine that ever happening. Oh, it's not so bad, especially when you have a cool neighbor. I like them, they're cool. Ha. And when someone interesting to talk to comes by every now and then, like this guest of yours. The reason she's here, the only reason for anyone else to be here, makes it pretty hard to relish the opportunity. You need to get way less hung up on the whole life and death thing. You'll go crazy placing so much importance on it here. Wait, is this the afterlife? It's not just death, it's... Okay, maybe it's still too soon for you to relax about this stuff. Everyone's dead! This is like the medium place. It's like where you end up, like if you've been okay. But still, have you talked to your guest much? A little. Showed her around. Did you ask her anything about herself? Her hobbies and interests? Well, the amnesia problem to contend with. It doesn't mean she's forgotten everything. I bet she could still recall some interesting stories to tell you if you asked. Why not give it a try? She'll be gone in less than a week. So enjoy the time you have. That will only make it end so much harder. Alright. I get where you're coming from, but the poor girl must be so bored. Why don't you send her to visit me tomorrow? She might like exploring the archive. Maybe I'll have some little tasks for her to help her out with or something. You're not too busy? I've got all the time in the world. Night, sweetheart. The archivist winks and disappears back into the shadows. She leaves the keeper alone with the light and the ships in the distance. Hundreds of them approaching the island in a slow but unrelenting pace. Oh. Yeah, I've got $1 on the afterlife. Does anyone want to take that bet? The guest wakes up early the next day. Her dreams, no doubt influenced by the events of the previous morning, centered around being imprisoned in bare, isolated cells. Several variations on the theme haunted her throughout the night. In between periods of waking, the one that stuck her the most took place in a bare white room, an incessant beeping, the only soundtrack to her futile attempts to escape. Unsurprisingly, her first thoughts upon regaining consciousness are to question the validity of the Keeper's claims that she was only locked in by accident. She feels a mounting anxiety as, moments later, the Keeper descends the stairs. I also love these overalls. I would like these overalls, please. Oh, you're awake early. Yeah. You want some breakfast? There should be a couple of eggs left. Not hungry. Yeah, it's possible based on the content warnings that there's, but yeah. It feels like narratively where this could be going, where this is probably going as well. If nothing else, I am a true patron of the narrative causality. system in that you can kind of base where things are going based on the stories that have come before. And while this is telling a very different story, you can piece some things together. Oh, almost forgot. You remember the archives? Yeah. The archivist got back late last night. Thought maybe you'd like to visit her, since you don't have much to do around here. Wait a minute. Yeah? She was gone and she just got back? Doesn't that mean she has a boat? Oh yeah, why? So why do I have to wait for the supply guy in his boat? Couldn't I leave with her? Oh right. Well, her boat, it breaks down a lot, probably wouldn't work. Of course, another reason I can't leave. The keeper hesitates at the top of the stairs for a moment, apparently unsure of what to say, before ultimately settling on a terse 4 words. Have a good day. Yeah, you too. The guest grips the windowsill and stares out at the empty ocean, hoping to avoid arousing the keeper's suspicion by waiting a few minutes before leaving. When she can take the tension no more, she races down the steps of the lighthouse, past the remains of breakfast in the kitchen and down the hill towards the mysterious archives. Lethe Island. Lethe. That word probably means something and I don't know it. Oh. Oh. That's clever. Yeah, that's clever. Wow. Yeah. That's really fucking clever. Hello? Is anyone there? No one seems to spend much time actually inside their homes here, which is pretty weird considering how few places there are to go. At least the door wasn't locked. Guess I'll look around. Better than going back up there. I mean, this is the person who, the person who created this also did Well Met by Moonlight and Reburn, 2 games that we've also featured on the channel, and it feels appropriate for like their kind of work. It feels very right for them. It says Lethe Island Archives. Well, at least I have something to call this place. Can't say I've ever heard of it though. Is a joke. Because you would drink from the river to forget your mortal life. Is play on words. Then again, maybe I have. A raincoat must be an important thing to have here, judging by the weather when I first arrived. I wish I had a walking stick like this. It would make hiking around here a lot easier. Stay here. Go down. Go downstairs. Wow, this is a pretty big book collection. Oh, The Sign of the Four. I think I remember enjoying this book a long time ago. As the guest opens the book, a gust of wind with no discernible source blows through the pages, and she feels her hand glowing hot again. Are we ready? Hi, Rose. It takes a moment to recognize the woman reading on the garden bench as the distressed debutante. She has more color in her cheeks and a contented expression that never comes close to gracing her features that night on the balcony. Yet, just as the other moment out of her life, the bachelor soon approaches her, his brooding tendencies more muted, but nevertheless visible in the world-weary way he surveys his surroundings. Good afternoon. Enjoying the party? The debutante looks up from her book, slightly annoyed at the intrusion. I was, yes. So hiding from the rest of the guests and reading a book is really your idea of enjoying a party? I mean, it's my idea of enjoying a party. In fact, it is. So if you don't mind, I'll get right back to it. I'd get along well with Rose. What are you reading? The bachelor flounces onto the other end of the bench and the debutante flinches. At this exact moment, nothing, because I've been interrupted. The bachelor opens his mouth to speak, then closes it again. He knits his brows. I'm sorry, I'm being terribly rude, aren't I? A direct admission of fault catches the debutante off guard. Well, perhaps a little? My apologies. To tell you the truth, I was finding the party dreadfully boring, and I thought you looked like you had the right idea avoiding it. Talking to you struck me as much more interesting way of passing the time than going back there. But of course, you have no obligation to speak with me if you are not so inclined. Good day. The bachelor gets to his feet. Wait. You don't have to leave. I was a bit taken aback by the boldness of your approach, but I would be happy to have a conversation partner as well. I've just finished a chapter anyway. Oh? You don't mind then? No, please sit. The bachelor smiles and retakes his seat on the bench. I'm Edwin Knight. Rose Nardavino. Nardavino, is that an Italian name? Yes, my grandfather was Italian, but my family's been in England since before I was born. And it's the Sign of the Four that I was reading. Oh, that's one of Arthur Conan Doyle's Sherlock Holmes novels, isn't it? Is he still writing those? I remember hearing about the great detective's celebrated return from the dead when I was a young lad. My mother quite enjoyed reading the stories in the Strand. Yeah, that's where I'm going with this as well. So, like Edwin has a similar visual look to the character we met in the first flashback on the bus. I'm not sure if that's intentional or not, but like there is some similarity there. Rose has done something to end up on like the shores of the afterlife, like being a guardian of the afterlife by the look of it. I didn't start reading them till quite recently, but they've been very entertaining. I've heard Doyle might serialize a new novel soon. Well, I hope you enjoy it if he does. I can't say I'm much of a mystery reader though. I love the idea of serialization back then. Like, it's something that we don't do much in media too much now. And this is something that I was very keen on like trying to get into when I was doing a lot of fiction writing, is that serializing then was you put a chapter of the story or a few pages of the story into like a newspaper or a magazine, and so people would have that chunk of it to read. And so like every week or every day you'd have like the next couple of pages of the Sherlock Holmes story to read, and people would read it on the train or the bus or on the carriage or whatever else they were reading it on. And we do it a little bit still now with electronic publishing, but it is such a cool medium and I love it. What genre do you prefer? I prefer stories that are more stark and realistic, I suppose. Descriptions of the struggles of daily life without things wrapped up nicely in the end. Well, you see enough of those as already. Thank you very much, Edwin. Well, each to his own, but I prefer to read as an escape from the struggles of daily life. Bam! Told. You've been told, Edwin. Understandable. The real world does seem a bit too bleak lately. You don't say. Indeed. Edwin gazes at the flowers of the garden, deep in thought. Alright, here's a question for you. What would your perfect life be like? If there was nothing to hold you back, what would you do? Wait, is this a digital diversity interview all of a sudden? Rose responds to her companion's query with a quizzical expression. I'm sorry, is that an odd question? No, not at all. I mean, it's much better conversation than I'm used to from the suitors my parents introduced me to. I suppose a beautiful woman like you has many suitors. Unfortunately, yes, but they're all dreadfully dull. You could forget about them then. They would never bother you again, and your parents didn't have any expectations of you. How would you spend your life? I suppose. Rose ponders for a moment. I suppose I'd like to be a lighthouse keeper. Rose, you're gonna get your wish. So this would be what? Pre First World War? Wait. When were where were the Sherlock Holmes books being written? I'm trying to work out the time period for this. Like, A.C. Doyle died in 1930. So this would be early 1900s. This would be just prior to World War One, the Great War, the war to end all wars. Was that one or was that World War Two? I can't remember anymore. We've had too many of them. So Rose would be around 200 by 2011. 200? 100? More than 100. Wow, I'm being bad at math right now. I don't know. 120 or something like that. Edwin cocks his head to the side, intrigued. A lighthouse keeper? That sounds like a lonely existence. Perhaps. But I like the peace and quiet, and I like to help others. I wish I could have a useful career of some sort, doing something beneficial. Mood. Lighthouse keepers are important. They keep ships from crashing on the rocks. I think that would be perfect for me. A job where I could be helpful, but I also have a great deal of time alone to read my books and think. Oh, Rose, you've just described my perfect existence up until I was like 30. Well, when you put it that way, it does sound like a nice life. And what about you, Edwin? What would you do if you were free of the fetters of society? I would be very, very gay, Rose. Thank you for asking. I would kiss all of the boys. Edwin leans in conspiratorially. Well, first I would throw a lot of parties. I wouldn't invite anyone who is at all boring or irritating. No matter what anyone else says about who's important with whom, and I'm expected to make connections. It wouldn't matter what race or religion or social class my guests were, as long as they were intelligent, interesting people. And we'd all get together, have a few drinks, and talk about our opinions on, well, everything. Literature, philosophy, politics. We might disagree, but we'd all be polite about it and stay friends. How very idealistic. I might like to attend these parties of yours, once in a while, when I go on vacation from the lighthouse. You would certainly be welcome to. Rose and Edwin look into each other's eyes, both of their minds filled with dreams that just for one moment in the garden feel like they could be real. But almost simultaneously, the two new friends remember what is possible in their lives and what is not. I should go. My father absolutely detests me slipping away from social gatherings, so... Yes, you're right. We should both go. Well, Right. Edwin immediately drops back down onto the bench. I'll wait a few minutes. We wouldn't want anyone seeing us return to the party together without a chaperone, would we? No, we would not. Rose turns to walk away. Rose. It's Rose Nardavino, isn't it? She stops in her tracks. Yes. I will call on you one day, if your father will allow it. You are unlike any woman I've ever met before, Rose. She smiles, the spring breeze gently blowing through her hair. And you are unlike any man I've ever met before, Edwin. Hello there. The first thing the guest sees upon returning to consciousness is the archivist coming down the stairs. Whoa. You okay, honey? The guest doubles over with sudden peals of laughter, promoting the archivist to gingerly approach. Anything I can get for you? Some water, maybe? I don't know why it's so funny. It's just... The guest struggles to regain her breath. I don't know why I was so startled these past few days. Everything that's happened to me has been totally insane. I felt somehow detached from it. The first thing that made me jump, that made me react like a normal person, is suddenly seeing a stranger in the doorway. Alright. You should get it. It's really fun so far. And you're not even much more of a stranger than she is, and I just accepted having her around somehow. It just hit me all at once, I guess. How weird everything is, how weird I am for the way I've been dealing with it all. The archivist pats the guest's shoulder. I don't think your behavior is particularly strange. Not when you have a concussion and... Do I? Do I have a concussion? Of course you're not going to answer me either. Of course. The guest laughs again, more sardonically this time. The archivist waits for her to finish before affecting a smile. Would you like something to drink? Tea? Coffee? The guest sighs. Fine. Tea would be nice. The guest follows the archivist into the upstairs, into the bedroom. The archivist buries herself in a small corner kitchenette as the guest sinks into the oversized pink couch. This is a cute bedroom. I'd live there. That's cute. Do you want any milk or sugar? Yeah, there's so many backgrounds. Like... I think it's a pretty big one in terms of size. Let me have a quick look. Like, VNs usually aren't that big. Like, this is a 300 meg VN. That's pretty big. Like, this one's actually bigger than the Camp Ravenrock demo. It's got a lot going for it. I'm just seeing if there's, like, any other references I can get. Yeah, like, this is actually quite a sizable one. So, yeah, like... It throws you sometimes to think that, like, most modern games are huge. Like, tens and tens of gigabytes. And you go, this game is only 300 meg. But that is big for a visual novel. Actually, how big is Yags? That'd be a good reference point. Because Yags is like 8 hours long. A little bit of milk, thanks. The guest's earlier burst of manic energy has left her suddenly as it arrived, and she finds herself simply staring at the wallpaper, losing herself in its pale patterns until the archivist slides a cup and saucer into her hand. Thank you. Feeling better now, honey? A little. The smell of a nice pot of tea always makes me feel better. Me too. Should have tea soon. Did you want to ask me some questions now? I mean, I'm not supposed to answer too many, but I'm less of a stickler for the rules than certain other people. The guest shakes her head. To tell you the truth, I don't know if I'm ready for what I think the answers would be. I understand. I guess there's one thing I can ask. What's your name? Is that allowed? Your friend calls me Ellie. Some of those are larger than the default allowed on the size, and I had to ask to increase it because that's mostly because via yeah, audio files are always going to drag it out. Like, so far there isn't a lot of musical pieces in this, so I'm actually curious. It'd be in the library. I do not understand how these are formatted. Audio, there we go. So, I mean, there's not a lot of audio files. But there's a lot of art files. So it's pretty big. My friend? The lighthouse keeper. She's not my friend. She cares about you, you know, but things are complicated for her. Everything feels pretty complicated for me right now too. I know. But hey, that's why I'm hoping I can cheer you up a bit. I'm a lot less of a downer than her, I promise. What do you feel like doing once we're done our tea? You could look through my little library for a good book to read. Or you could help me out with some filing downstairs. Maybe you'll catch a sneak peek of some scandalous secrets. What do you say? Archives, archives, archives. I do like archives. I am too much of a bibliophile. I like archives. I like correspondence. I'd be happy to help you out in the archives for a while. Great. Well, we'll sit and enjoy our tea, and then we'll get right to it. Once the tea has cooled down enough for the guests to take a sip, it occurs to her that Ellie never asked her what kind of tea she wanted, but somehow she seems to have been able to choose something that almost brings a happy memory to the guest's mind. It dances just beyond reach, a tantalizing connection to her previous life as she drinks from a china cup in the garish pink room. Later in the afternoon, Ellie drags an extra chair out of the corner of the basement and arranges it by the desk. There, now we can work together. The guest takes a seat at the desk, next to a row of filing cabinets. What do you want me to do? Well, if you don't mind. The archivist bends over and drags a large cardboard box out of the same corner. My sister dropped off all these files a while ago, and they're completely disorganized. Because of course all the work they have to do is way more important than the filing, right? God, bureaucracy in the afterlife. I kind of love it in a weird way. So I was hoping you could help alphabetize it all. Hopefully at least most of it will be in file folders, just not the right order. And if you come across a loose piece of paper, it should have the name of the file it's supposed to be on top. Does that sound okay? Sure, I can do that. Thanks. Ellie takes a file out of one of the cabinets and sits down at the desk with it. Next to her, the guest takes one of the many files out of the box. It's fairly thin, only containing a few papers, and the tab at the top reads Wolf, Marjorie. She can't resist sneaking a peek. After checking that the archivist seems absorbed in her own work, the guest surreptitiously slides one piece of paper out of the file. Considering the strangeness of the existence of these archives and everything surrounding them, the guest was expecting something equally abnormal with the files. But everything she feels can get away with reading seems to be entirely mundane information. Name, date of birth, gender, marital status, and so on. Something that looks like details of a dream this Marjorie person had once catches the guest's eye, but at the same time the archivist looks up to retrieve another document from a drawer. The guest immediately begins rearranging files with vigor. This makes me think of Dead Like Me. I gotta rewatch that show one day, it's really good. Alphabetical by last name, right? Yep. So this will be near the bottom. Okay. Got it. Just got to keep organizing files. She takes two more files out of the top. Carson, Deborah, Martinez, Alberto, and begins an alphabetical tile on top of Wolf, Marjorie. With Ella's attention diverted back to her own papers, the guest makes one more attempt to glean some information about these people whose information she's handling. and upon opening Deborah Carson's file, she notices something strange. The birth date listed will put Deborah around the guest's age, at least as far as she can remember, but an enclosed picture shows an elderly woman. Eyebrows knitted, the guest closes the file again. She slides a few more into the place and alphabet without looking inside, fighting against the urge to ask Ellie about the incongruous picture, potentially stating her curiosity, but also admitting to her transgression. I love the word transgression. It's also a very good word. As the pile on the desk grows larger, she compromises with a decision to ask a general question. So, how much wood could a woodchuck chuck if a woodchuck could chuck wood? Just asking. No. Can I ask who these people are? Ellie doesn't look up from her work, which appears to be jotting down some numbers on the file she took out of the drawer. They're no one in particular. What? There's no reason why you have all these files on people? This time, Ellie stops writing and gives her guest a reassuring smile. I don't mean to be secretive. Sorry, I know you've been getting enough of that already. I mean exactly what I said. There's nothing especially significant about the people in these files. It's essentially a random sample of all currently living people. That box is, at least. Then what's it for? Ellie taps her pen against her chin. Call it a demographic survey. My sisters and I collect information on people, and we use the information we have to make predictions about living conditions in the future. Is Ellie a fate? Ellie's a fate. Like, yeah, you figured out the same time as I did. I love that Traz and I come to the exact same conclusion. Or something like that. Do you have a file on me in there? She wonders what might be in her own file. Details about her murky past. A photograph of how she looks without facial injuries. Or a photograph of someone else. We might. It's not unlikely. Ellie turns back to her work. Too bad I wouldn't know what name to look for. The guest sighs and returns to alphabetization. Sorry, I know it's not the most interesting work. You know, I don't actually mind it that much. You'd think putting things in alphabetical order would be a bit monotonous, but I've always found it kind of satisfying to get everything neat and organized. I'll make you a nice dinner as thanks later on, okay? Okay. The two of them spend the rest of the afternoon working alongside each other in companionable silence, and the guest makes no further attempts to examine the files, although she isn't sure if it's out of fear of being caught or a fear of what she might find. Once the files in the box are organized and sorted into the right drawers, the guest leaves the archivist to her work and heads onto the beach. She sits down and watches the water as it laps against the shoreline and then recedes back out to sea. The pattern has a relaxing effect on her, and a while later she finds herself wondering how much time has passed. As she dusts the sand off her clothes and heads back to the archives, she sees their owner rushing out of the door. Oh, there you are! Sorry it's gotten so late. And I said I would make you dinner, you must be starving. It's okay, I was just watching the ocean, it's peaceful. I like to do that too. Still, I would hate to go back on a promise of food. I can start dinner right now if you want. The offer awakens a hunger in the guest that she hasn't felt like she arrives on the island. She hasn't eaten in 3 days. As far as we're aware. Well, if it's not too much trouble, tell you what, I'll run to the lighthouse right now and tell the sourpuss up there that you're hanging out with me for the night. I'm sure she won't complain about having more time to sit around by herself, practicing angry faces or whatever she does. That is, if you want to stay here for the night. I think it might not be safe walking up the hill after dark. And I have plenty of pillows and blankets. It'll be a sleepover. The guest weighs her options, sleeping in the cramped archives along this bubbly, talkative stranger, or in the cold lighthouse under the watchful eye of the other one. It doesn't take long to come to a decision. Sure, a sleepover sounds fun. Yay, sleepovers. I'll be back in a bit. She races up the hill, hair streaming behind her in the sunset. These backgrounds are gorgeous. Once night has fallen on the archives, the guest watches as their proprietor fashions a collection of pillows and blankets into some kind of nest on the basement floor. The room's tall bookshelves cast long, dark shadows in the limited candlelight. I'd really be fine sleeping on the couch, you know. But this is way more fun, it's like a real sleepover. Ellie blows out the candles before flopping onto one of the two makeshift mattresses and gesturing her guests to do the same. Fuck. But. Okay, fine. Aww. Aww. That's really pretty. This art is beautiful. The guest sinks down into her bed for the night and finds it surprisingly comfortable. Ellie grins as she shifts some pillows into their ideal position. I used to do this with my sisters all the time when we were young. We would wait until we thought our parents were asleep, then sneak into each other's bedrooms to lie on the floor together, telling jokes and stories. That was a little while ago though. That was like 3,000 or 4,000 years ago. Don't mind us. Of course, our mother would always catch us because our giggling was so loud. She tried to teach us not to be afraid of the dark, but that wasn't the problem. We weren't scared of being alone in the dark. We just preferred to be together. They're doing road work outside my place. How many sisters do you have? 2. I'm the middle one. God, what does that make her? God, what are the fates? Historical references. I'm trying to remember what their names were. Clotho, Lachesis, and Atropos. I cannot remember which one that would be. Lachesis, yeah. Oh, otherwise known as Ellie. This has been really cleverly put together, actually. I'm loving it. It sounds nice, having sisters you're close with. Yeah, it is. I mean, we disagree sometimes. We're all pretty different. My older sister is really cynical, and my younger sister is much more optimistic. I always end up kind of mediating between them. But we never stay angry at each other for long. That's good. Now that her eyes have adjusted to the darkness well enough to see Ellie's face, Lachesis, the Alotta, the Eliota. God damn it. Sounds like a plane. Guess finds her scrutinizing her features, wondering what her sisters must look like. I wish I could tell you something about myself or my family, but that's okay. You can tell me a story instead. I don't remember any stories either. Then make one up. I think I can make up a good one. Come on, please, tell me a bedtime story. The guest laughs. Okay, fine. I'll try. No guarantee of quality, though. Ellie pulls her blanket up to her chin and looks at the guest expectantly. Once upon a time, there was a giant. Ooh. Actually, there were 2 giants. They lived across the sea from each other. One of them challenged the other to a duel, so they built some rock columns into the water so they could fight on neutral territory between their homes. And then, the guest sighs dejectedly. What? I don't know. I remembered that, but I can't remember how it goes. I don't know if they fight or if one of them runs away. Make it up. What would you do? If I was a giant? Yeah. If I was a giant, I guess I'd be strong enough to fight another giant. Yeah, exactly. So I'm guessing we're gonna put our money on this. I would say she was on the bus with the other person, and something happened to the bus on the tour. That is an assumption I will make. Like, or they were on the way to it, possibly. But if it was me, I'd run away. You won't at least give it a try? Fighting a giant on a bunch of rocks in the middle of the ocean? I'd fall off and drown if the giant hadn't crushed me already. Sound like my older sister. I think a human might have the advantage up against a giant. You could dodge quickly and maybe climb up his back. In theory, maybe. Someone could do that. Not me, though. You never know until you try. Are you threatening to make me fight a giant? I don't know any giants. Not anymore, anyway. I'm going to sleep. Your jokes make me tired. It's not a joke. My aunt was a giant. I really am tired. Good night. The guest rolls onto her back, looking up at the stone ceiling of the archives. For a moment, she imagines that she can see right through it all the way to the canopy of unfamiliar constellations above. Thanks for letting me stay here. I feel a lot more comfortable here than up there. The guest turns back to see the archivist and sees she's already half asleep. A sliver of moonlight shining through the basement's small windows illuminates her face, framed by her long hair spread out across the pillow. Good night, Ellie. That night, the guest dreams of an infant visited by 3 women in long, flowing dresses. The middle of the 3 women is dressed in white. She smiles as she lifts the child into her arms and looks into its round, unblinking eyes. To her left, a radiant woman in blue also gazes lovingly at the child. To her right, a stern woman in green remains a step back, her face partially obscured by shadow. As the woman in white extends her arms to offer the child back to its nervous mother, the scene fades and the guest wakes up. She's back on the floor of the archives, where Ellie had been sleeping. There is now only a disheveled pile of pillows and blankets. Shivering in the chilly basement, the guest wraps one of her own blankets around her before ascending to the main hall. Hello? Ellie? As she raises her hand to knock at the bedroom door, something catches her eye. There's a note attached to the inside of the front door in ornate, looping handwriting. Gone fishing. Back soon. Alone again, of course. She sighs and looks around. Guess I'd better try to find something interesting to do. I think I've seen a sewing machine like this. Maybe. My mother had one? My grandmother? Yep, there we go. What a nice old-fashioned painting. It looks really realistic. There's our Ellie. Gosh. These 3 women seem to be sewing something. One of them is unspooling the thread and one seems ready to cut it. Is that Ellie in the middle measuring it? Gosh. I love Greek mythology. It's so cool. And it's done really well in this, actually. Like, this is a really interesting take on older mythologies. A necklace with an L in it. Is that because L sounds like Ellie? Or did I just assume she called herself Ellie when it's really L? What's this doing here? It looks like one of those wristbands that give you at big events, or Or hospitals? Just like the bus ticket the guest found in her bedroom, most of the letters stamped onto the wristband is smudged and blurry. She does manage to pass a few details, that the patient was a 23-year-old woman, born in 1988, but just like with the bus ticket, as warmth soon emanates through her fingers. We're gonna figure out what happened. Or something similar. The wistful wanderer lies on her back in a hospital bed, enclosed by unadorned off-white walls. Unfocused shadows come and go from the room as the unrelenting cycle of time casts changing patterns of light on the wanderer's haggard face. The shadows whisper echoes and layer over each other, a cacophony of fear and misunderstanding. I thought she was seeing a therapist. Why didn't that help? She was so excited about going to university. I thought she was doing well. Why would you do something like this? Why didn't you tell us something was wrong? What did we do wrong? I never thought this was serious. How could I have known? Did I fail her? How can we help you if you won't tell us what's wrong? Can't you at least try to explain it? Why won't you talk to anyone? Does this have something to do with that friend of hers? How hard can her life even be? She can't stay here forever. What do we do? What can anyone do? Why don't you go stay with your Aunt Mary for a while? It's nice and relaxing out in the country where she lives. It'll be good for you. Yeah, that's a lot. Yeah, it's very cool use of text not in a box. I'm just like... Feels. Having feels. I'm home. As her surroundings swim back into focus, the guest hears Ellie's voice ringing out from the hall and opens the bedroom door to greet her. Ellie poses triumphantly in the doorway, a bright pink fishing rod in one hand and 2 fresh fish in the other. Wow, you really went fishing. What, you thought I was lying? Just seems like a surprisingly normal thing to do in this place. Ellie shrugs. For me, this place is normal. Come on, let's go cook them on the beach. Ellie escorts her guests to a small fire pit in the sand. They make themselves comfortable on makeshift driftwood seats, half buried by years of erosion. Ellie struggles with a packet of matches and the guest looks out over the dock. No boat. I guess I shouldn't be surprised. Huh? Oh, there we go. The archivist grins as the fire begins to spread from the kindling. She tosses 2 fish on the grill. You don't have a boat. Ellie turns her gaze in the direction of the guests. Well, it seems like I don't. What do you mean? It comes and goes. I have a boat when I need it, and I don't need it right now. Right. Makes total sense. The guest slumps down as much as she can in the unconventional chair. You doing okay? Yeah, I guess so. Okay as I can be, I mean. I did sleep pretty well last night, better than the last 2 nights before anyway. So thanks for that. No problem. Having a sleepover was fun. Yeah. Think you'll head back to the lighthouse tonight? I don't know. If you want me to, I won't keep bothering you here. But being there was frightening sometimes. And when it was less frightening, it was just awkward. You know, you said that she cares about me, and there are some mysterious reasons she can't explain things to me, but I can't talk to her. She barely says anything. She's so cold and aloof. And do you know she locked me in the lighthouse one morning? I mean, she says it was an accident, of course. Just like she says it was an accident that my boat crashed on this island where it's her job to make sure that doesn't happen. Oh, that was my fault. What? Ellie's sudden declaration startled the guest out of her tirade. It was my fault you crashed, I'm sorry. I asked her to help me in the archives. I had some heavy boxes full of books and files, and I hurt my shoulder a while ago, so I asked her to help me move them down the stairs. She said yes without thinking about it because honestly that's the kind of person she is. She cares so much about helping other people even if it doesn't feel that way to you. But it took longer than we thought, and you must know that sunset comes early here. It's always earlier than you think, especially if you let yourself get distracted. When she realized it was dark out already, she sprinted up the hill to the lighthouse, faster than I've ever seen her move. And this was in the middle of the thunderstorm. I was so worried she would slip and fall in the mud. But she was too late. By the time she's made it up to the light, you'd already crashed. The guest looks on in confusion as the archivist tells her tale, even while smoke from the fire in between them obscures the archivist's expressions and irritates the guest's sensitive eyes. I was the one who found you first. I carried you up the stairs to the lighthouse. You were so cold. She'd come running down from the top of the tower too, once she'd made sure the light was working. In between ragged breaths, she asked me if you were okay. I put you down in the bed and asked her if she wanted me to stay and keep an eye on you. She said it was fine. She said I needed to rest, because my shoulder must be in pain from carrying you. She said she could take care of you herself, and that's what she did. All night, she would come to the light upstairs, then check on you downstairs and do the same thing again. I'm really sorry. It's my fault you're here. I'm the one you should be angry with, not her. Her story finished, the archivist turns her attention back to the fish on the fire. The guest sits unmoving, in deep contemplation. She breathes in the smoke and the scent of the fish, somehow unlike anything she's ever smelled before. She thinks about the days she spent on the strange island, first with closed lip but apparently courageous keeper, and then with the affectionate, potentially absent-minded archivist. She looks at the woman on the other side of the campfire, tending to the fish she caught herself for the two of them. I'm not angry with you. It's not your fault. I'm not angry at her either, but I don't know if I'm ready to go back just yet. Is that okay? The archivist smiles on the other side of the smoke. Of course. We have things to do after lunch anyway. Hey buddy. Hey. How you doing? Come here buddy. Come here, let's have some cute. What do you think, buddy? You like this one? I think it's very pretty. You soak. You soak right in. Yeah. Wouldn't be a stream without some kitty time. I love you, buddy. Up you go. Up you go. That's Raiden. He's a sook. Aren't you? You're a sook? You're a beautiful sook. Yeah. You're gonna get lots of love when we move, buddy. You're gonna need it. He doesn't like change. Yeah, he's gonna get so much love. Oh, there we go. Right in the jaw. Yeah? What are you sniffing at? What are you sniffing at? Coming down? You coming down? What you doing? Down you go. Oh, now he wants love. It's okay. It's okay. Yeah, cute baby. This cute boy. You wanted to find a book to read, right? Well, I'll help you with that. Okay. But first, I think the fish are ready. Let's head back and eat inside. The two women leave the beach, the ashes of the fire behind them, and the afternoon of pleasant conversation ahead. Sook. A while later, Ellie leads the guests down into the basement, looking more closely at the bookshelves than she did the previous day. The guests notice how chaotic they are, with many books lying on top of others, sticking out haphazardly. So, I swear these were alphabetized alphabetically by the author's last name once. But then I kept getting new books, and sometimes there was no space when left when they should go alphabetically, so I had to stick them in wherever. You know how it goes. Oh, fucking pain. I know. As a bibliophile, I must have my library organized properly. If that means that I get a new book and there's no space for it, like alphabetically, I will shift the entire collection. It will take me like an hour to put a new book in place, and I don't care. It's just how I do things. And then one time I moved all the shelves out from the wall so I could clean the years of dust back there, and man, it was gross. And I put them back in the wrong order by mistake. And by the time I noticed that one section of its alphabet was totally the wrong place, I didn't want to move them all again. So maybe you should just tell me what kind of books you like, and I'll see if I remember anything good. You probably don't stand a chance of finding what you're looking for by yourself. Well, it would be easier if I could remember what kind of books I liked. And guess, maybe mystery? I have a vague recollection of having a bunch of Sherlock Holmes when I was a kid, maybe. Mystery it is. Let's see what I have. Ellie peruses the shelves, look intense concentration on her face. What about... No. You know, I'm not all that picky. You probably just grab something decent, I'll give it a try. Not like there's much else to do on this island. No, you said you like mysteries. So I'm gonna find you a mystery. I want you to have a good time here. Ooh, are there any really good ancient Greek mysteries? Because that's probably what's gonna get pulled out. Better not be the Odyssey. Aha! She pauses in front of a shelf in the far corner. And here's the beginning of the alphabet, and here it is. Without warning, she tosses a weathered paperback to the guest who fumbles but manages to catch it. The Moonstone. Wilkie Collins, 1868, one of the first detective novels that established a lot of the conventions in the genre. And up here is... This time the guest anticipates the flying book and catches it more deftly. Surfacing. Margaret Atwood, 1972. I'm pretty sure Margaret Atwood just, like, got shown as one of the good people, very good people recently. So you got a nice range of time periods here. This one's about a woman searching for her missing father. Oh, and if you want one more to consider. Ellie returns to her search for a few minutes while the guest skims the two books she already has. Here we go. Careful, this one's hardcover. Ow! The guest manages to keep a perfect record of catching books, but not before this one strikes her in the stomach. The English Patient. Michael Odacht. I can't pronounce that. 1992. Also not really whodunit or anything, but there's plenty of mystery and intrigue. Any of these should be good read, but hey, if it turns out you were totally wrong and mystery isn't your taste at all, just let me know. You might have noticed I have a ton of books. A metric ton to be exact. Gotta have a metric ton of books. A nice even amount. Do you know which one you'd like to try first? Let's go with the Atwood. I think I'll try Surfacing. Ooh, this one might be my favorite out of the three. I hope you like it. Ellie hands the guest her chosen novel with a big smile. If you want to start reading now, feel free to relax on the couch in my room, or enjoy the nice weather while it's still light out. I have some work to do down here, but I'll come up to talk to you later. Thanks. Feel free to yell when you need anything. The guest nods before ascending the stairs out of the archive, book held firmly in hand. Like, it would, the fates in a modern sense would definitely have to work in a demographic kind of situation. Like, you've got 7+ billion people to work from, like, to have to deal with the lives of. You could not go all of them. You just have to, like, get a random sample and just go, they'll live this much longer. Like, you try and associate mythologies that were written, you know, back when there were a few million people or hundreds of thousands of people against now when there's billions of people, and you just go, we could not balance this out if we tried. Later, as the first hints of the island's early sunset streak across the sky and knock at the archives door startles the two inhabitants out of their reading. Come in, we're in the bedroom. The front door swings open, followed by the bedroom. The keeper shuffles in, looking down at her beraggled boots. Evening. Hi, honey, I'll be right back. I was just about to take care of something downstairs. Talk amongst yourselves. The keeper chuckles. Must be something very important, and definitely pre-planned. Definitely. The keeper remains standing near the doorway, a wide distance between her and the guest on the couch. What are you reading? Yeah, the sprite cam on the other side. I would love to see the scripting. Like, this game must have the most amazing scripting. Surfacing. It's about a woman in an isolated place with a lot of water trying to solve a mystery, so I can kind of relate. Do you like it? Yeah, it's pretty good. It's been nice to have something to do to pass the time other than just wandering around, wondering what's going on here. Yeah. Like, I love this little bit keeper biting her lower lip kind of thing, because it looks like a biting a lower lip sprite. Must be hard for you. Yeah, it is. It really was an accident the other day when you were locked in. Sorry it scared you. Thanks. The keeper moves farther into the room and takes a seat on Ellie's bed. Did you have fun here? Yeah, Ellie's really nice. We had a sleepover in the archives and cooked fresh fish for lunch today. The keeper nods. She's an astonishingly kind and cheerful person. She's very bright and energetic. I don't know how she does it all the time. And she says that her younger sister is even more a constant optimist. I find that hard to imagine. That's actually true. Chloe's level of positivity is almost absurd. Chloe? God. So instead of Clotho, it's Chloe. Instead of Larkisus, it's Ellie. And Atropos would be Addie? God, what do we think? Attie sounds about right. Chloe, Ellie, and Attie sound about right. So we'll see if we find out. You've met both her sisters? The keeper nods. Known them a long time. Well, not that long by their standard of time. What do you mean? How old are they? Not sure exactly. Much older than anyone lives on Earth. Really? I guess that makes sense. You're not too surprised? Just one more in a long line of strange things that have happened to me over the past few days. I think I've gotten used to it. The keeper reacts with a look of sadness and sympathy. Sorry that you have to get used to that, to the way things are here. No one should have to. It's okay. You've apologized a lot lately. The keeper shifts slightly, leaning closer to the guest. If you want to come back to the lighthouse tonight, if you're comfortable, there's some good food for dinner. Yeah? How good? I did have some pretty delicious fish for lunch today. Well, maybe you won't quite live up to your elevated standards now that you've spent time with the real chef on the island. But you should come. As the guest looks into the keeper's earnest, apologetic eyes, Ellie skips back into the room. Hello, I'm done with the thing I was doing. Did I hear mention of you going back to the lighthouse for dinner? Sounds like a great idea. I hear there's good food. Don't worry about me, I have things to do, so many things. The guest laughs. Okay, Ellie, I'll head out now then. Thanks for letting me stay with you. It was a lot of fun. No problem, thanks for all your help with the filing. I'll come visit you soon. Bye. Enjoy dinner, you two. The lighthouse keeper and her reinstated guests slip out the door of the archives and ascend the hill to the lighthouse as the sun sets in the south behind them. Dinner turns out to be pancakes with maple syrup. The guest is surprised at the departure of the standard dinner fare, but she can't deny that the keeper's promise was accurate. The pancakes were delicious. Is that what you normally have for dinner? No, just felt like it'd be a nice change. It is nice. Thank you. You're welcome. In spite of their recent reconciliation, the guests and the keeper consume their plate of meal in silence, interrupted only by the scrape of cutlery against plate. Hell yeah, pancakes. Immediately after swallowing the last bite, the keeper arises from the table. Better check on the oil levels. Oh. The guest's interjection, the keeper turns back. Her cold gaze almost discourages the guest from asking questions on the tip of her tongue. But then she summons her strength and resolves to give it a try. Those visions I've been seeing here. You know, all those. That's normal here. The keeper slowly nods slowly and warily. I won't ask why I've been seeing them, or how it even works. But I just want to know. Am I right that they're the memories of people on the island? Can you confirm that at least? The keeper takes a deep breath before speaking. Yes. The guest nods as if understanding, even though the answer has simply raised more questions he would rather not consider. She shivers. The keeper remains still and silent on the bottom stair, her eyes fixed on a nervous companion. The guest steels herself to seek one more answer, the one she finds the least frightening. The woman on the balcony and in the garden. Is that you? The balcony? There was a party. She was upset and a man came out to comfort her. And then in the garden, Edwin. For a moment, the guest thinks she captures a glimpse of an expression she's never seen before on the keeper's face. Some kind of nostalgia mixed with melancholy and regret. Yes, my name was Rose. Rose. The oil. She whirls around and rushes up the stairs to the light. Grasping the edge of the table, the guest lowers herself back down to the seat. She closes her eyes and struggles to endure the throbbing pain in her head that began when she stood up to address the keeper and grew in intensity with each question she asked of her reluctant roommate, or recalcitrant roommate, Rose. The guest dreams of Rose that night, not as she knows her now, but as she saw her in the visions of the past. She stands on the south beach of the island in a storm not unlike the one that brought the guest here, her long hair soaked through with rain but still blowing in the wind. It's hard to tell with the rain running down her face, but she might be crying as she watches a small boat recede into the distance. And with that, we're going to call it. Fuck. Wow. Hey, I know how to end them. I know how to end them. This has been The Light at the End of the Ocean, a new visual novel by Jane Titor. And holy crap, I am utterly in love with this. I am utterly in love with this. If you want to see more, please go and pick it up. It's up on itch.io right now. I believe it's on sale right now. If you want to get it and find out how the rest of it plays out, I'm not going to spoil too much more of it. But, oh wow. This is a heck of a game. This is a heck of a game. It's a hell of a story. Do we have anything in the extras gallery? Yeah. Oh, we get all the pictures. And then we got our Ellie. There's our Ellie. There's our guest. Image 2 of 3 locked. Image 3 of 3 locked. This is really fun. And there's our Rose. There's our Rose. Wow. Thank you everyone. This has been utterly wonderful. I wanted to thank you all for being here for another digital diversity stream. Next stream, I'm just trying to remember what I had planned. Where was it? I had stuff planned, and yes. Next week, I will be playing Validate, because that is in Kickstarter right now, and so we're going to play the demo of Validate. And then the one after that is one that I backed not too long ago that I'm super excited to play since I backed it, and that is I Am a Love Interest in My Childhood Friend's Reverse Harem, or Harem. That one is looking so much fun, and I'm super excited to be playing that. I'm going to be playing that one as well. So hopefully the next 2 weekends, about this time, probably an hour later, start time, I'll be playing these. And I'm super excited to be sharing some awesome visual novels with you all by the wonderful queer community. And yeah, if you want to find out more about what Digital Diversity is doing, you can just head straight to Twitter. We are at Digidiverse, DIGIDIVERSE. That gives links to everything we're doing, as well as the podcast and all that sort of stuff that's having fun. So, yeah. Until next time, folks, look after yourselves. Look after each other. Remember that you are not alone. Be proud of who you are. Play some games and support the people who make the games. Because without these awesome folks, we wouldn't have games to play. And that'd be a hell of a shame. So, until next time, folks. I have been Kaiju. This has been Digital Diversity. And I will see you folks next time. Ciao.